in a charged atmosphere inside the capital city of Ouagadougou. A moment unfolded that would soon echo across the entire African continent. President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso stood before a sea of journalists, cameras, and citizens, his expression calm, yet his presence electric. What he was about to say was not rehearsed, not scripted, but carved from the fire of conviction burning in his heart. He began with a declaration that sent shockwaves through the hall. We are done staying silent. We are done bowing down. We are done letting foreign powers treat our continent like their playground. His words were not just meant for his people. They were directed toward the world. A few days earlier, reports surfaced claiming that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had issued a warning to African leaders, an alleged threat disguised as advice. Whether or not the statement was genuine did not matter to Traoré. What mattered was the attitude it represented. As flashes from cameras illuminated the stage, Traoré's voice grew firmer. We are not your colony. We are not your pawns. We are sovereign, and we will fight for our freedom with everything we have. The audience, initially silent, felt the weight of history in those words. For decades, Africa had endured the manipulation of outsiders who believed they could dictate the continent's future. But this moment, this speech, was a declaration of independence reborn. Then came the line that would define him. Let me make this crystal clear, he said, leaning closer to the microphones. Burkina Faso does not answer to Tel Aviv, to Washington, or to anyone who thinks they can buy or bomb us into obedience. Those words were not just defiance, they were liberation. Traoré was not merely defending his country. He was giving voice to every African who had ever felt the weight of foreign dominance. And as the speech ended, silence filled the room once again. Not from fear, but from awe. A new tone had been set for Africa's future. Within hours, Traoré's fiery message had escaped the walls of that press room and ignited something extraordinary. His words spread across X, Telegram, WhatsApp, and news outlets faster than any official broadcast. Millions watched, rewatched, and shared his video. Farmers in Niger, students in Guinea, and young dreamers in Mali all felt the same pulse of pride. Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali reposted the speech, calling it a message of courage. Guinea's leader, Mamadi Doumbouya, declared, "He speaks for all of us." Hashtags such as hashtag Africa will not bow and hashtag We stand with Traoré trended across the continent. What began as one leader's statement had become a continental movement, a symbol of awakening. For generations, Africa had been divided by borders drawn by outsiders, its resources plundered, and its leaders pressured into silence. But now, the silence was breaking. Traoré's defiance had given voice to a united call for dignity. Sovereignty, he explained later, is not a word. It's the right to decide who enters our land, who takes our resources, and how our nations grow. His message was simple but revolutionary. Africa would no longer play on someone else's chessboard. In Burkina Faso, security forces, farmers, and teachers began rallying behind their president's stance. Posters appeared in Ouagadougou with slogans like "We decide our future" and "Africa for Africans." For the first time in decades, a sense of unity and determination surged through the Sahel. While foreign governments remained cautious in their responses, the African streets were alive with optimism. In village markets and urban squares, discussions about independence, dignity, and justice filled the air. Traoré had struck a chord deeper than politics. He had rekindled the African spirit. Traoré's words were not just a warning. They were a call to action. In the months that followed, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger forged what became known as the Sahel Alliance, a united front of nations determined to protect their sovereignty and build their own future. The alliance's mission was clear. If you attack one of us, you attack all of us. It was more than a military pact. It was a declaration of unity, of shared identity. Leaders began meeting regularly to discuss security, trade, education, and resource management. This is about more than defense, Traoré said during a summit. We are building schools that teach our own history, hospitals that heal our people, and economies that serve our citizens, not foreign corporations. His vision resonated deeply. Across Africa, young people saw in him not just a president, but a symbol, a leader who dared to speak truth to power. Meanwhile, Western media remained largely silent. International headlines downplayed his speech, fearing the growing narrative of a self-reliant Africa. But silence could not stop momentum. Every social post, every video clip, every rally in support of the Sahel Alliance strengthened a new identity, a proud, united Africa determined to write its own story. For Traoré, this was not about fame or provocation. It was about reclaiming dignity. "We are the children of kings and queens," he reminded his people. "We are the builders of civilizations, the guardians of the earth, and the future belongs to us." In the heart of the Sahel, a new era had begun. The winds of independence that once swept Africa in the 1960s were blowing again, stronger, fiercer, and unstoppable. Today, the impact of Ibrahim Traoré's speech continues to ripple through the continent. What began as an impassioned statement in Ouagadougou has become a defining moment in Africa's modern history, a symbol of courage in the face of intimidation. Critics said he was too bold, too defiant. But Traoré saw silence as the real danger. "Remaining quiet," he said, "is how they win. But when we speak, we remind them that Africa is awake." From Burkina Faso to South Africa, people began to believe again in the possibility of a continent free from external control. Universities held discussions on sovereignty. Artists created songs and murals celebrating African pride. Soldiers pledged loyalty not to foreign generals, but to their own soil. For the first time in a long time, Africa was not reacting, it was leading. And Ibrahim Traoré stood at the center of that transformation. His defiance against powerful nations was more than a speech. It was a mirror showing Africa what it could be. As the sun sets over the golden plains of Burkina Faso, one message continues to echo across the continent. We are not afraid. We are not weak. We are free. Traoré's voice now belongs to history. But his message, his belief in unity, courage, and sovereignty, has become the anthem of a rising Africa. The world may not have been ready for his words, but Africa was. And from this moment forward, no one can silence a continent that has found its voice.